Hi, I am actually doing a quick video because I want to document Greta's pregnancy. She she's looking beautiful. She's such a good girl, and she's right now at the end of about week 4. And pregnancy usually is about 8 to 9 weeks. It really depends on the dog itself. She has always given birth at around 8 weeks. End of 7, beginning of 8. She's when she's usually around then she'll start giving birth to the babies, but that's her. But usually it's up to 9 weeks. And right now she's looking bigger than ever because I don't know. I'm assuming I have my naive way of thinking, but you know how some pregnant women, when they have their first child and then they go on to their second or their third baby, they start showing sooner than later, because their body's already used to it. So their body just goes into that the way they already know how to prepare for the holding of their baby. So with her, I'm almost thinking that that's the same thing because she's already had 2 litters. I almost feel like her body's used to it, so she's showing sooner than she normally would. She normally starts showing around mid to the end of week 5. She's at the end of week 4 right now, but she's really showing. She looks like she's about 5.5 weeks pregnant. So she's shaved down. She looks beautiful. I had her fully groomed on Friday because she was really fuzzy. And usually I get her this short because it lasts longer and she feels fresher. And it's so hot out there right now. Anyhow, maybe I'm thinking in another 2 weeks I'll shave this down even shorter because right now it's fuzzy, but it's short. But in 2 weeks it's going to be longer, the hair. So I'm going to shave it down even more because this will help those babies be able to nurse without the interference of the fur around her teeth. So she's looking good, and then maybe next week or in the next 2 weeks, I'll start introducing that puppy food because the puppy food is what you need to give them. It has so much fat in it, and that's exactly what she needs to help with the production of her milk. So that's really important, especially with Greta, because Greta tends to have a large litter. In her last 2 litters, she's always had 7 puppies per litter. So being that that's how her body produces that many babies, it's important that she's able to produce enough milk. So we're doing that, and then maybe next week I'll start getting the materials to make her whelping box because she needs to have an area prepared for her so that she'll be able to give birth to these babies in a comfortable, clean environment. So what I need to do is I'm going to have to take down her beautiful little doghouse, and I'm going to have to put that away, and I'm going to use that whole area right there where I'm going to make like a big wooden enclosed area where she can get in easily, but the babies can't get out. And the bigger they start getting, I'll start maybe getting those kitty corrals to close that area in so the puppies can't get out of there. And it's just work in progress. It's preparing and making sure that everything is done right. For me, what I find easier is getting a bunch of construction bags, the black ones, cutting them up and making them flat, and then what I'll do is I'll lay them out on the floor, and once they're flat, I'll tape the area of the floor that I want taped. Then I'll start layering newspaper on top of that plastic. So when the babies or mom have an accident there, all I have to do is pick up that newspaper, throw it away, spray down that plastic, and that's preventing my floors from getting damaged. So I'll just toss away that newspaper, clean up that plastic, and then put fresh newspaper on there again. When they have their babies, the mothers tend to have a lot of it's gross, but they have a lot of discharge, and they have that for about the first week of after giving birth to the baby. So there's constant mess, and it's easier to use the newspaper. You just pick it up, toss it out, clean the area, put fresh newspaper down again. And then once the babies get into about week 3, that's when they start pooping on their own, and then that's when it gets really messy. So it's constant cleanup. So the newspaper and having that plastic construction bag underneath the floor really seems to help with the cleanup and the maintenance of it. So we'll be preparing, and I need to start, collecting more newspaper and having that ready. And I need to start getting the equipment I need to set this up. But I've got a month to do it before these babies are born, and it's going to be looking like a lot of work. I need to get started. I need to start introducing puppy food to her diet. I need to make sure her whelping box is ready. She's already shaved and cleaned, and so it's just little items and little tasks I need to do that are slowly I'm getting them off the to-do list. But it's this is what it is. When you have puppies, you prepare and you get everything you need done before the babies arrive, but you do it the right way. If you're not going to do it the right way, then don't even bother breeding your dog. There's so much that goes into it, and I am so fortunate to work for a veterinarian that I'm able to have what I need done, and it's provided for me. And my boss is the best the best vet there is, and I trust him 100%. So I'm able to do this because I have that support from my vet. And normally I wouldn't recommend it. It's a lot of income, a lot of money that goes into this. You got to think about the X-rays. You got to do X-rays around week 7 of pregnancy. You do the X-rays. It's so important because in the X-rays you'll be able to see the spinal cords on these babies, and you'll be able to determine how many you're having. And once that mama goes into labor and you're not prepared and you don't know how many babies are coming, you don't know if she's in any kind of trouble because you don't know how many babies she has in there. It's important to know that so that you can take the necessary decisions and the precautions for if anything, God forbid, she needs a cesarean or anything. You know what you're looking at, and you can take action on it sooner than later. So you always prepare with X-rays, and you always give her puppy food towards the end of the pregnancy. You just make sure that you take care of mama. Mama needs to be super taken care of, and if you take care of mama, then you'll have healthy babies. But it's really important. If you don't have the means to do everything that is required for breeding your dog, then don't do it, because it can be scary. I think about last week, I met this girl at my job who had a pregnant, very heavily pregnant pit bull mixed dog, and she didn't know how far along her dog was. She had mentioned to us that her dog had been in labor for 28 hours. That's scary. If you really love your dog, that's a scary situation. Pushing and pushing, and the babies couldn't come out. Turns out she had no knowledge whatsoever about breeding, and she let her dog breed with a male dog that was double her size, was so much more bigger than her. So obviously, for her small frame, the puppies were too big, and so she was having a difficult time birthing them. So all in all, we needed to do emergency C-section and remove those babies. She ended up having 6 puppies. The problem was the owners didn't have the finances to do it either. So it was scary for these girls to try and call their parents and muscle up the money, and it's expensive and it's scary more than anything. And then once mama has these babies and she's coming out of sedation, they need to nurse right away. And if they can't nurse on her, then you've got a bottle feed. And if you've got a bottle feed, you have to be super careful with that, because sometimes if you don't do it the right way, they aspirate and some of that milk can get into the lungs. So it's really, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be scary. So I suggest you don't do it unless you already know what the outcome is going to be. I've been very fortunate that Greta has been very healthy and she's taken care of, and that she's able to give birth to all her puppies naturally, and she nurses all of them on her own. I've never had to interfere with her nursing. But you just got to take care of them and do what's right by them.